Hi everyone! So for today's card I wanted to do something a little bit different. I recently got some alcohol pearl inks by Ranger and Tim Holtz, and I wanted to have a play with them, so that's kind of what I did. I had a play with all the different colours, and then I also made my colour catalogue so that I had, you know, a reference to what colours I have. And so for this one I used Intrigue, Enchanted and Deception, and you have to shake the bejesus out of this thing when you get them, because on the bottom is where all the pigment will sit, and then all the sort of liquid, it separates out. So and there is a like a, I want to say like a ball in there, like a what do they call them? I don't know what they're called. I can't think what they're called, but there's like a little ball in there, and that helps to mix the colour together before you put it on. And even when you're playing with them, you sometimes need to mix them up as you go. So those are the three colours that I've used for the background, which I'll show you in a minute. I then am using Here's the Scoop Lawn Fawn stamp set, and this is one of the older ones, but I love all the sweet treats and the you know, the foodie kind of stamp sets. I think they're kind of universal, and you can use them for so many different occasions, so many different you know, whether it's male or female, that kind of thing, so, or kids, or any of that kind of thing. So that's the stamp set we're going to use today. I then also have Lawn Fawn's, what is this, Peekaboo backdrop. And this has some extra pieces that you can create little windows that will open, but I'm just going to use the frame part of that. I have some Artist, well, I didn't write the name on, this is Artist Loft, I believe, watercolours. They are kind of chalky, so I don't know whether or not I really like them. So it's just not my kind of watercolour paint, but I'm going to use them and show you, you know, I'm going to make use of them basically. And the nice thing is that this has like a palette on this side, so you can see I've sort of mixed some colours in there already. So we'll see, and it's super cheap as well. I think I paid £3.50 or something for this, but I don't think they're expensive anyway. Obviously I have a water brush and all that sort of stuff to paint, so I'll speed through that section when we get there. So with the images, I originally stamped and embossed them in white, which did look very nice when I'd done all the painting, but I don't have the dies for this, and my scan and cut just could not pick up. There might be a trick to it, but it just could not pick up all the images, so, or it would pick up part of an image and things like that. So I just decided, for ease of frustration, I would just do them in a black. So what I did for this one is which one? I used some, no I didn't. I used some Onyx, VersaFine Onyx, and I used some Cosmic Shimmer. This is a detail clear over the top. I don't get massive results using this, although this is what you can use this ink pad for, you can heat emboss with it. I don't always have very much luck with it, so I tend normally to go with Versamark, sorry, and then a coloured embossing powder over the top. But because I wanted a nice crisp image, I gave it a whirl, and it mostly worked, so it wasn't too bad. And I've sort of got, I tend to lose a lot of the embossing powder, so it's not necessary either. You can just stamp them and then wait for the ink to dry, making sure this is dry before you you know, watercolour. But I kind of like the shine on it, and I like the slightly raised area. That also helps to keep your watercolours in their little areas, and you don't have to wait between colours for one to dry. I also use some Tim Holtz watercolour paper, so this is the textured side, which I don't know if you're going to be able to see, and so I turned it over and used the smoother side for these images. So these are the images we're going to colour. in a minute. As an embellishment, this goes back to an older video from I don't know, maybe a month or so back. I don't know, I don't keep track that well. But these are little, if I remember I'll link this video, but these are embellishments that I made out of some foam, like fun foam, and some glitter and some double-sided adhesive sheets. So I've had them sitting around since then, and I just thought actually they'd work quite well with the whole sugary sweet kind of thing, and they look kind of like those love hearts, or that's what they remind me of. So that's what I'm going to use to embellish. When I did my embossing, sorry, going back to that, I also used a EK Success powder tool that helps to keep the sticky off the card, whether you've got oils on your hands or anything like that. It prevents that sticking, or the embossing powder then sticking to that. I've also prepped a part of the sentiment for the front. This is just some black Stampin' Up cardstock, and I used Stampin' Up's white embossing powder just to heat set that. But I also, because I wanted some dots afterwards, sort of like to say there's more on the inside, I used a Versamark pen, and this is actually the first time I used it, and there's two tips to it. So I used the finer tip, and I just put some marks on there and some dots on there, and then used the embossing powder over it. Works exactly the same way. It's the same ink as your Versamark ink pad, which is also what I used to stamp that with. And then I just cut it down to just a block. So that keeps it really simple. If you don't have a die or anything like that, you can just cut your cardstock down, and that works. And that's great for scraps of cardstock as well. So that's part of that. So this is the frame that cut out, the peekaboo frame. This is the pearl on here, and I just played around with it. You can see it's a mess. That's the idea. It's just a playing around with it, with your alcohol inks. You can do this with the normal alcohol inks as well, but I just thought I'd have some fun with this. And this is on Judikins gloss paper. I've had a stack of this for years. I mean, like maybe 11 years. So I thought I'd use it. Hopefully you can pick up some of the shimmery part of it. It's so pretty. And I have a card base that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is just thick Whisper White Stampin' Up cardstock. So it would have been 8 1/2 by 4 and 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, and then folded at 4 1/4. So this is going to be a this way card, because to me this is still top folding, but you know what I mean. So that's that card, and the card base, sorry. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let you watch the colouring, the painting bit, and then I'll be back to put the card together when that dries and I've cut it out. I'll use my Brother Scanning Cut to die cut them as well. So I'll be back when that's all done, and then we'll put it together. But here we go. pop this piece, just the start of our sentiment. I thought maybe roughly in the middle-ish, like so. And there's your panel, and also you can, I didn't want to take too much away from the background because that's the main element, but I thought it lent itself really well to like candy and ice creams and ice cream parlour, and it's got that sort of 1950s feel, I think, you know, with the old school ice cream thing. What do you call it? Parlour, that's the word. That's what I just said. Hello. I have no idea how this video is going to turn out, but if you get a giggle, so be it. So let's just get some tape on the back. So I've got the card here. I'm just going to somewhat line this up. Doesn't even look like it's going to fit on there, but let's just see. Oh no. Looked like the card was actually a bit bigger than the rest of it. That's never a problem either. If you get that, if you find that you've made your card base slightly bigger, just trim it off down the side afterwards. So there's the front. Almost finished. I just want to add the sentiment in quickly. Get some of this stuff out of the way. And see what I'm doing. So this is from the same stamp set. And I thought it was really cute. And it says, "You melt my heart." Aww. So it says, "Here's the scoop, haha, you melt my heart." Aww. So that should mostly be dry. So on the front, I just want to use these hearts that I made, like I said, and they're still sticky on the back. I just want to pop them in every so often, just for a bit of something. I figured I may as well use them up. And where else? There you go. So, glittery, shimmery, pretty card. I think that turned out kind of cute. I'm quite chuffed with that. Like I say, it started out not so good with the, you know, with the other heat embossing I'd done, but I think it's worked out really well. So I'm chuffed. So there you go, guys. Hopefully this video wasn't too long-winded. I've tried to do a different, you know, different format today, but let me know what you think. So I hope that if you like what you see, you'll come back for more, and don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and that will let you know when I've made some new crafty stuff. I'm going to try in the future, this is the plan, that when I'm making crafts, it's not just card making, because I know there's a lot of scrapbookers and project lifers and sort of art journalists and canvas peoples and all that sort of stuff, and that's sort of things that I want to keep working on as well, which I also do. So I will try to make some more varied crafts, so that hopefully that will encourage more of you to give it a go, especially if it's a new thing for you. So yeah, I hope you liked it. I hope you have a very crafty day, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye!